Let's go, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. Hey, we have got a great episode for you this week. Not only am I here with my co-host, Derek Kwana, as usual. As you can see, we have a very special guest this week, Kirk Acevedo, on the show with us. Can you believe it? This is January 21st, 2025, and this is, strangely enough, episode 69. He did not request that, but how it couldn't work out funnier. Now, look, for those of you who do not know, you may know and recognize Kirk here as Miguel Alvarez from Oz, maybe Joe Toy from Band of Brothers, or, maybe Charlie from Fringe or some other one of the hosts of his other roles. But we all know him here in LA at the casinos, at the poker tables as a crusher, especially lately. Kirk just had a really big breakout year in his tournament career here. 2024, he had his biggest single cash, and he eclipsed his previous cash amounts in a single year by over 3x. That's pretty big.
Wow.
That's pretty big. So just since last October, Kirk won the 100K guaranteed Black Friday special at the Gardens. He final tabled the World Series Circuit main event up in Thunder Valley. And he got second here at Commerce at the World Series Circuit Mystery Bounty event. So he's having one hell of an end of a year. He's trying to keep that momentum going into this year. Welcome to the show, Kirk.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yep, we have been excited. And for those of you who do not play tournament poker around LA, Kirk is one of the people that can out-talk me at a table when he so chooses. Now, he doesn't always, but if you have the right topic at hand, you ask him about just the right experience, or maybe you talk sports with him, he will go right with you. A friend of the show, Jeremy, Mr. Jeremy Hamey, You're the Jeremy, was saying that Kirk is one of the few people in the LA scene that may know as much or can keep up with him at least in sports trivia and knowledge, that's very impressive because if you know Jeremy, sports are his number two life. So that is awesome.
You guys know Dewey?
Yep.
Dewey a couple of weeks ago was like, yeah, my friend sells Mercedes. He has a Mercedes dealership. And he says, you know what? Kirk would be a great salesman. I was like this. I was like, he wants me to work for him. I was like, I'll be working for him. That'd be terrible.
It's like the only thing I sell is river calls and folds. All right. So as we pointed out there, Kirk is a quite prolific actor. So obviously here in LA for acting primarily and not poker. But before we get to the poker, I imagine acting is what brought you here. Why don't we go through a little bit of your history? How long have you been here in LA? And, what was kind of your path to get here?
Basically, I did a pilot, like 23 years ago in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Wow.
I met a little lady named Kirsten Warren, who eventually became my wife. And she happened to live in Los Angeles. And so that's how
that's awesome.
Moved to Los Angeles. And
it's all about a girl.
22 years ago. Yeah, pretty much.
Very cool. And what was that pilot?
Oh, God. It was a pilot called Paradise. Fantastic cast. You had David Strathairn. You had Barbara Hershey. You had James LeGros. You had Elaine Stritch. The guy who wrote Cool Hand Luke.
Oh, very cool.
Directed it. Frank Pearson. It was for Showtime, and it was about a televangelist preacher who ironically loses faith in God. But he has he's a believer, but he has a conflict within himself.
Gotcha.
Spiritually.
Gotcha.
So it didn't go farther than that. So
it sounds it's probably too complex for the general viewing public there. And you know what, that right there, what you did, it just reaffirms why I would never, I could never get an acting career off the ground. I would never remember all of those different people working on a pilot from 23 years ago. No chance. I'm so bad with names. I don't remember the folks at the table until the third or fourth time that I talk to them.
Me
It's
too.
just so bad.
I'm really bad at names.
The worst with the names. The
So
worst.
it's tough. And I see, we were talking about it a minute ago. You started out, you originally from New York City, from the Bronx, right?
Correct. Yes.
Very cool. And as we were just talking about, Derek, also from the city. I am from upstate New York, which doesn't really count. If you tell anyone who's not from New York, they'll think that I'm probably from just like one subway right away. But no, it might as well be. I have more in common with Ohio than I do with New York City folk. So, but
New York State's pretty big, so that's understandable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely huge. So very cool. So you came over here. You're already acting. You decided to move to LA to see about a girl, so to speak.
Yeah.
Were you already playing poker at that time?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Let me just go back here. Shit. Right around that window where I met my wife, maybe a year after, maybe 2 years after, I started dabbling in poker. And I did some online, but I went to Borgata with two buddies of mine, and I entered, it was during I guess it was
Spring Series, Winter Series, something.
Yeah, they just got their new, Borgata just basically opened up.
Yep.
So it was actually the year it opened up.
So the upstairs poker room still. Because I think later on they moved it downstairs.
It was right before they did the new poker room.
Yeah.
So and then I broke my nose. They had some fun.
Wait, you broke your nose?
Yes, it's a crazy story. So they had a 500. I think every Friday or Saturday they have like a $500, and they get like 200 people, and the plexiglass is brand new, right? So I'm on the phone with my wife, and I'm ready to walk through the door, and I walk right into the plexiglass.
Oh my god!
Clean, and I broke my nose.
Oh, jeez.
Some guy, meanwhile, blood is like spewing down my face, and some guy, hey, ain't you Alvarez from Oz?
Oh my gosh!
Look at him like I want to fucking murder him. I'm gushing blood, and I'm wearing a white V-neck shirt. And then my two buddies, I was like, all right, I'm playing poker, and I'm like, just get me a shirt. I'm gonna go in all the time. I don't right now. I want to see what my nose looks like.
The injury probably helped him recognize you, right?
I go all in 5 times. I win every fucking hand.
And you're hooked.
And then I couldn't leave. I had such a big back at that point. And then I end up chopping top 3 or top 4.
Wow.
For that.
Nice.
And then since I worked, I played poker so infrequently, especially back then. But what really got me the hook in poker was I final tabled, I want to say it's either a 2,500 or 2,000. And I remember Shannon Shore was at the final table, and I got like 9th or 10th. And that was got me hooked, because I played ABC poker, and I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking easy. I just play ABC poker and just wait on good hands, and I make final tables, which is, it's, you go through so many iterations, you know what I mean? So that was the hook, though, that series.
Gotcha. Was that so that was also at the Borgata? That was back in 2006, it looks like. You got 8th place in the 1600 WPT at the Borgata.
That's it. Yes.
Very cool. Now, I was, obviously I was going through your head and doing a little research here, and I got to tell you, I think it's time to send in a new picture. This one here, probably not great. Can I suggest, I know a great photographer. Can I recommend something more like this? I don't know if you're watching the stream, but the pictures that Frank took takes of you when you're winning, when you got the trophy here at the Gardens, perhaps something like that. Maybe.
Way better picture.
Yeah, let's get one of your winners photos up here.
Yeah, I recommend you send that on in there, and let's get this thing updated, because this has to be, I think, I can't see the table, but these might be from the Borgata. This might be from that series you're talking about in '06. This looks like a very young Kirk here.
There's another one up there from Commerce at one of the LAPC events that I don't know. I don't even know what picture's up.
Yeah. Here at Hendon, I see you in like a red flannel with a star on your shirt.
Oh, so. I don't even know. Yeah.
I think that might be at the Borgata. But very cool. So I was going to ask, why tournaments over cash, why this or that, but it sounds like even if you're doing 50-50, which maybe you weren't, once you had such a great run in that kind of early go, right? Like you said, that was the hook. You final tabled with some of the big guys. Yeah. It was easy. Poker's easy, right?
But the problem with tournaments was there was no time. So cash back then was easier because, tournaments, it's like a whole day. I could only really play on weekends, and the only place to go was Atlantic City at the time because I was working in New York. So cash online and cash live in certain underground spots in New York were places I played at. And then when I was
the old Mayfair Club style stuff, Rounder style, right?
I forgot which places. I mean, I think I got played on one that got busted. I played in a bunch down there. I remember I just tripled up my first fucking hand in a 3-way pot, and after I'm raking the chips towards me, and the fucking cops bust in, and
oh my god,
they take my winnings. Like they're like, "Can I cash out?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, I want my money." And me, I'm so like I don't care if they're cops. Like my whole family are like cops, pretty much. So I'm just like, no, I want my fucking money because I just tripled up here. You know what I mean? And they're just like, leave. But so I go to Commerce, and then I started playing cash like all the time, like especially this is like at its juiciest, like from like 05 to 08, just before it went belly up in 08. Like there was like 7 games of like 10-20 going, 2 games at least of 20-40 going. I mean, you'd have like Russian like gangsters. I gotta tell you a crazy story. We're playing 10-20. I don't even know if these guys are alive anymore. But back then you used to play with cash on the table. And so you'd have cash on the table. Now they don't, because the people were stealing it. You could get up off the table, and if they didn't put a plastic ceramic case around money, that was one way. Or most of the time you would just leave the money on the table, but people would just walk by, grab it, and just walk out the door.
Yeah.
They did it many times. But so these Russian guys were the sweetest guys. Versace dress shirts and reeked of cologne. These fucking guys. So they kept on. They just loved the action. They loved the rush. You know what I mean? Every time you'd like give them a bad beat on the river, it was okay. They would just laugh it off because that's what they were doing. That's what they're trying to do to you. So when they pull out a wad of hundreds, and one of the guys goes, "What is this on it?" He said it was paint. It was specks of blood.
Oh my gosh!
All over the money. So when blood gets old, right, it turns like brownish, right, like a little rusty brown,
right.
And he goes, "Oh, it's paint. It's paint." Paint. I'm like, paint is red. It doesn't like age on the money. So just one of the
literal blood money.
Yeah.
Literally blood money. Yeah, but so I was playing cash, and I stopped playing cash because I had at that point, like a bad day, I would lose like $3,000. My worst I ever lost at that point was like maybe 6,000-7,000, and then I lost in a hand quad 5s, and the guy flapped a straight flush.
Oh my god!
Heard my quad 5, and it was just under a 6-figure pot, and I couldn't deal with life after that.
Wow.
So from losing like maybe 6,000-7,000 max,
right? That's massive.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
couldn't deal. And so my wife goes, we had a dinner date with a couple, and I was late. And the reason why I was late because I couldn't deal with life, so I drove home, went to a 7-Eleven, and bought a 6-pack of beer and parked a block away from my house. The entire 6-pack. Wow. My wife's like, "Where the fuck are you? We have a date." And I was like, "I lost." And she was like, "Okay, well,
Yeah, it's no big deal.
I lost it all. I lost it all." And she was like, Why did you fold?" I go, "I had quad. Why did you fold?" So now she knows I could not fold quad fives, no matter what amount of money I had.
Well, it sounds that sounds like you were having a real it's a real rounders moment there, a real
Yeah.
real time to drive the truck kind of moment there. It's tough. Did you ever have a chance? I mean, it feels like you should have been in that movie. I mean, you were playing poker in New York, you were acting back.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you should have gotten in that
Wow.
thing, man. That's brutal.
Yeah, but I wasn't. I think when did that come out?
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, but like over 20 years, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was quite old. Yeah. It was before the Moneymaker stuff.
It was 98.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 years before Moneymaker.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Moneymaker was like 05.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. He was 05, I think, right?
Yeah.
I think, or 03 to 05, one of those.
I think maybe.
I think it was 03.
01 or 2000
is when the movie came out. Yeah,
it was 98.
98.
Oh,
it's 98. He's got the poster on his wall. He'd know.
Yeah, I wasn't even.
Yeah,
playing.
it was before it really exploded. It was yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. No, but it sounds like your wife was pretty supportive of your poker playing, or even still was after that, even to the point of not understanding what exactly happened. But that's a positive, right? So that's one of the biggest hurdles a lot of people have. I know there's a bunch of guys that play these tournaments who try and hide their name when they win because they don't want their family seeing it, or somebody. They always say they don't want their wife to know they won a tournament.
I'm texting half the time to my wife, my chip stack, what levels we're at.
Oh, that's awesome.
Who wants to know?
Wow.
Especially like when how far away we're from the money. Then when I get in the money, the pay jumps, which she loves hearing about.
Oh, wow.
I keep abreast the whole time, and it's like she's living it with you. You know what I mean? I'm like 20 more, 19 more, 18 more in money, and then it's like, and then so she's the one that really got me back into it. Like about maybe 2 years ago, she was like, "You're bored. Just go to the World Series of Poker." I know.
Oh man.
And this was in this year's, the year prior. And I was like, "Really?" And she was like, Go. I go, "You're fine. You want to go?" She was like, "Go." And I went and
that was in 23, the 23 World Series?
Yeah, not this year, the year prior.
Gotcha.
So 23.
Because I'm looking at your Hendon here, and there's a bit of a gap from around 2018-19 until 23. So
yeah, you're always working. So and then there's the COVID. Then like no one really played during COVID. I
not live anyways, right? Yeah.
That's amazing that she's so supportive of you and also like understands like all these different like little tournaments. So you must have like taught her a lot about tournaments.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it's definitely for me. It's easier to swallow losing in a tournament because I know how much like cash you just keep on buying in. I mean,
right.
It's just bigger. I can manage the losses easier. I mean, losing a poker tournament, it's okay. I get over it. Even bad losses that like in the 400K at the bike, I got freaking coolered so bad. That should have been my tournament to win. That one. That's I ran negative EV in that one. But I had pocket tens, and I'm in the big blind, and there's many different ways I gotta play this, but I get raised from this lady who didn't really play much. And I think it was her first final table she made from when I got the breakdown of who was at my final table from a buddy, and she mid clicks me, and I'm like, raise here, blah, blah. I just flat, and I don't mind playing. I mean, I don't mind, and I have pocket tens. I don't mind playing post flop. A lot of people hate playing post flop. I love playing post flop. Something I used to hate doing. You just like, especially like, when you don't play as much, you're like, no, I got this hand, and I want to hold on to it, save it. You know what I mean? I mean, I could play, and I don't even need a hand now. Like, I mean, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's the game has evolved for me. But anyway, make a long story short, it's the flop comes 3, 4, 5, 2 spades. She basically flops it. She had ace deuce, a
Oh no.
flops it, and so she makes it $500,000. There's already 1.3 million in the pot at this time, and then makes that. I flat it. I just call. The turn's my fucking bingo card.
Oh no.
10.
It's a red 10.
Yep.
Red 10. And so I check. She makes it 1.5. No, I'm completely sorry. The flop comes, and I make it 500,000. She flats, turns my bingo card. I check. She makes it 1.5 million. And at that point, I have like 4 million left. And I'm thinking, I like too many draws to me. And I go, and even if she flopped it, I got 10 outs to, hitting my,
Voting
up.
Once. Yeah.
And the dreaded words, I go all in. She goes, "Did you flop it?" Yes, I got a call. And at that point, I got scared. I was like, because I beat aces. I mean, I just beat everything other than that. And then I see her hand. I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's brutal.
That was a cooler hand. But even after that hand, like, my whole point was I got over it like a day.
Yeah.
Before it would be like a week. I'd be like, oh, what could I have done differently?
Sure.
How do I do this differently? Now it's like, yes, I'll talk to people who are way better than me and be like, hey, what would I have done here? Or what do I have done here? Could I have done this any differently? And it's just no way I get out of that hand. No way.
Yep.
As long as you made the right play is all that matters. It doesn't really matter what happens. Yeah.
Now, you talk about starting to kind of get better at getting over big hands and big spots, being able to evaluate, move on. I don't know if he's in the chat, but shout out to Xander, our buddy Xander Stone in the chat. He had some tweets out there about like he's getting back in the dating streets, and I made some comparisons to poker. And I like to tell people how poker really, really has parallels to everyday life more than any other game. Really. And as someone who's dabbled in those acting streets, trying to get things in there, have you ever thought about the comparisons of an acting career with tournament poker? The whole massive amount of work in the back end, massive amount of study, very short amount of time to show what you have, to do an audition, the massive, huge, typical failure rate, right? And having to get back up and do it again. Is that something that you think has affected your poker play, or vice versa? You think poker's helped you deal with that in your career, or your acting career?
Poker emotionally is, as an actor, we're emotional creatures. Most people tend to be emotional. And that is something that you cannot do in poker. You cannot get emotional. And that was the hardest thing for me, because I'm extremely emotional person. I mean, like I wear it on my sleeves, but I'm an actor. It's okay. That's what you want. You want someone that's able to tap into that anger, sadness, whatever that is, because that emotional reservoir is the juice that brings the parts, the scripts, your character to life. When you play poker, that was like my Achilles heel, because I would get emotional. I'd go on tilt. I'd get angry. And so that was, I would tell my wife, I was like, it's like, this is where my mistakes are happening right here, is that, because then I want to, I'm so emotional. And it's like, it's okay to feel that, but it has to be literally in control. You have to control it. And sometimes you got to talk yourself off cliffs every time after a bad beat, after a hand. So the comparisons for me, it's like everything that you are as an actor that makes you a good actor makes you a bad poker player.
It's true. It's funny.
Me, because the good poker players are non-emotional in the sense of it's not personal. It's not this happened because of variance. This happened. It's not personal why I lost that hand.
Sure.
Amateurs is like, oh, why has this happened to me?
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah, for the personal.
Why,
Yep.
why you lose. It has if you're a losing player, then yes, it's why you lose is on you. But you know what I mean. It's you have to really look at it analytically.
What?
It's the same thing as acting. The same way. The problem is with acting is subjective.
Right.
Poker isn't. The only thing that could possibly you would think of like maybe that's the equivalent to subjective is variance.
Right.
It's luck. But basically
the elements you can't control. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
So that would be variance, right?
Yep.
And but yeah, I mean, but you find out a lot about people how they play poker. It's very true. You find out if people are patient. You find out if people are selfish, if they're greedy, if they're, if they have poor manners, on how they deal under duress. Because that under duress shows you who you are, whether you're calm and cool, or you get out of control, you get under someone's skin, you could poke them. You find out a lot about people, but then sometimes people throw, false reverse tells and make you think you can make people think you are angry or steaming when you're not. So there's there's a lot of variations, but I mean, as you guys know, but
absolutely. No, for sure. It's definitely a good point about having to be in control of yourself. So this year, as we pointed out, it's kind of been a big break. Well, not this year. I'm sorry. Just this past year, it's kind of a big breakout, right?
yeah.
What happened? Is it just volume? Is something clicking? Did you do something as far as take a new approach, studying more? Is something? Have you changed something consciously that has been helping you out here?
Yeah, so when I don't play poker, and the reason why there's such huge gaps because I'm working, so I miss like 2 years here.
Yep.
Year here, 8 months here.
Sure.
So there's never a rhythm that I could give, and I get reps. I get no reps.
Right.
Swinging a bat. It's like even like acting. It's like you have to brush off the rust and get reps in, and that's why the best thing for actors, for any actors out there, like working on a TV show, is the best thing because you're getting reps every day. It's the best practice to practice your craft, but. In 2023, so I'm always watching podcasts. I've always read tons of books and stuff like that. I surprisingly never studied a chart until maybe a few months ago. Never even looked at a chart.
Wow.
And so something clicked in 2023. I don't know what it is. I just saw something different. And I just became more aggressive, and which is, as we know, tournament poker, that's a plus.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know what I know now, and you put me, this is so frustrating because I always tell my wife, I think I dropped the ball on maybe coming real close to getting a bracelet in 2 tournaments, like very, very close. And I wish I knew what I knew now. Because I'm telling you, from 2 years to now, I'm like, I don't know anything. Like I know leaps and bounds to what you know what I mean? And it's frustrating because I'm like, because even before I knew what I know now, I told my wife, I let one get away.
I say the same thing to Derek from 3 months ago.
Yeah, right.
Just like, what the fuck were you doing?
Yep. Just every day you look back and you're like, what was I doing?
No, no, exactly. It's exactly right. Like even like, even like exactly 3-4 months ago, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the good thing is that, that you could admit that, you know what I mean? The people that can't, I think like, oh, like, in any craft, in any profession, if you could be humble and still, I have tons more to learn. That's the way you want to be, right? Like it's the only way you
Yeah.
grow,
Absolutely.
understanding your flaws. And so, yeah, so it just clicked. And then, I ran well at the bike. I ran well even at the, I banked I didn't play a tournament for like 3 months because I was working in Texas, and I banked a 300K over there, and I won that. And
I hear
then,
Alito somehow, right?
yeah, it was like this summer, like
The Fort Card Room here.
August or something. And then ran well at the bike, and then went to Thunder Valley, and then ran on the bike. And then my wife was like, "Get a coach, just get a coach." And I was like, "All right." And then in Thunder Valley, I was playing with Brock Wilson, and I DM'd him and was like, "Hey, you want to coach me?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'd love to, man." And I played with him for like 2 days.
No kidding. Wow, that's a great coach.
At the same table. And so yeah, and so a lot of stuff he gave me, and especially in the first 2 sessions, I was like, oh wow, I don't do any of that.
Yeah. It's a different world with those like nosebleed, like high stakes guys. Like it's a very different game.
I was like, wow, and he's like, so you could blah 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 take this line here, and I'm like, really? That's the line? But this is the thing I had to realize, like, because part of me was scared of trying new things at that point because I'm already winning.
Yeah.
Like I'm already like, even before I had the first session, it was already like the Alito, the Thunder Valley, and the 400. Like, so just making final tables, like, right. So I'm like, okay, just a little at a time. Just do 15% of what he said, like implement it slowly.
Yeah, sure.
Things that I know that are going to work right away. But the problem is they kind of work against the better players. Right. So you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
it's like
Absolutely.
the $400 buy-ins and the $500 buy-ins, and then maybe even some of the 1,000 buy-ins that sometimes that could even, like, some of those guys aren't even. So I have to always constantly adjust.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right?
Depending on your table, or if it's day one or day two or the buy-in. Absolutely.
Day two is easier, I think, than day one. Day two, especially in 40-minute levels, day two is, if I could play 40-minute levels or more, it's way better. But that was a big adjustment because I was like, okay, they're not going to know what I'm doing here. Let's play ABC heads up, like just ABC poker with that guy. He's not
right.
Yeah.
Yep. That guy's not going to fold anyways. Let me just outkick him because he's just not going to fold. Yeah.
Yeah. But just the lines that these guys take, and I'm just like, who the fuck would believe that? But I mean, it works. It works for him, right? So, but that was just, a lot of stuff was shocking to me in a good way. I was like, oh my God, I need to do ABC. Like, it just opened up a big part. Yeah, that side, especially aggression.
Sure. So have you taken some of that knowledge and kind of applied it to self-study? Are you a solver guy now? Are you watching other videos, or what are you doing now to stay sharp?
Yeah, so a couple of friends have what's his name? Lex Friedman stuff, and explaining why he plays certain hands, and he'll go through a whole tournament. And it's like, so I played this hand here because blah 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 blah. That's
really helpful.
That's very helpful because, like, the only way you could really get better, like right away is if someone could see you playing tournament poker, like your coach, and watch you how you play every hand. That is the best way, but that's impossible, right? That's impossible.
Yeah, they'd have to be watching an online recorded session or something, right? Get a hand
Right.
histories, yeah.
And you have to have the opportunities to play where they see your cards and blah, blah, blah. So watching someone else do it and explain is very helpful. And yeah, and I've looked over solvers and stuff like that, like, you know, just a bunch the last like
Nice.
2-3. So yeah, because anything that could help me, but to be honest, I look at the solvers and I'm like, oh, okay, you're supposed to do this here, this stack size at this level, this day, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I did that pretty much instinctually.
Well, that's
Like,
good, right?
and so I was like, oh, okay, I mean, yeah, of course, yeah, I do that there. And there's some hands where I wouldn't do it with in certain positions that they say, because I'm just like, no, I don't want to do this here with that. I could wait for something a little better, you know what I mean, than that, a little bit more that goes better, maybe multi-way, if I got to play multi-way, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
nice. It's nice to get that affirmation that, you know, some of the stuff that you're doing is correct. Because a lot of times, I think pre-solver, other than maybe talking to other players, a lot of stuff I was just sort of making up. And I'm like, well, this feels right, but you never know for sure, right? But now it just feels like there's something objective to compare to it. So it's nice to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean, exactly. I wasn't far off. So I felt comfortable. I was like, okay, so I am doing the right thing, but maybe there's some spots here that I could exploit and take advantage of here too. What the solvers really help is what other people are doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then how do I exploit them when they're playing GTO? That is but again,
When they're trying to play GTO.
when they're trying to play GTO. But that's the battle, right? Like with like really good players, right? Like that's the battle. Like, you know, okay, he's raising with the cutoff. I know kind of what you're raising there with me and what I have to repop you here
Right.
with.
No, I totally get you. Yeah. For me, I love seeing those ranges. It's almost more useful. It's like, I know that guy opens appropriately. Which part of his range is he not going to be comfortable responding with, right? So, like, he's going to open appropriately, but I don't think he's really put the time in to know what to do against this response, right? Something like that. Yeah.
Or even on, okay, on the flop, the turn, the river, you know,
it's like he knows to 3-bet that king 6 suited, but what does he really know what to do with it later, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
There's more streets to play.
Yep.
Of course, it's ever evolving, right?
Yeah.
Like it changes like constantly. Yeah.
Now, another question I have for you is, you know, you already kind of mentioned just walking into the Borgata back in the day, people were kind of recognizing you, right? So do you often get recognized at the table? And, you know, now you're playing more tournaments where you're playing with a lot of the same people every week, I think, at least this year. But, you know, even in the past, do you get recognized a lot? And did that, how do you think that affected the way you played or the way you should play, right? You got any good...
Yeah. I hate it. I hate it for one reason, because I feel that most actors are terrible poker players. Like, they're very bad. So I just feel like, you know, however you feel about, because again, like the better poker players don't really care about who you are or your personality, but other players get influenced. Other players go, oh, he's an actor, I'm going to take this spot from him. You know, it just makes the game harder for me. But like also someone said is like, but you also get a lot more action. Yes, which that helps. But sometimes you don't want all the action, right?
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I think for people in like in LA, like who play with me, they know I play poker. So that I'm not the typical actor, I guess I want to say, who play terrible and are ATMs. And
Rob, I feel like he's taking a shot at you. So if you're watching this one tonight,
but I don't like it because I don't want to talk shop at the table. Really, I just want to get lost in poker.
Yep.
And just think about what I have to do, because whenever I got to talk about like my job, I get distracted, and then I maybe get chatty a little
Oh,
too much.
really? All right, guys, taking notes. This is this is what you do. You got Kirk at your table on day 2. Ask him, talk shop.
Just get him to talk.
Yeah.
Just
That's all
ask
you
him
get in
about
his
some
head.
shows. Ask him
All you
about
get
some
in his
roles.
head.
Ask him. Let's get him talking shop. He'll be off his poker game. Let's go. All right. No, I could see how that would be annoying for sure. I think that I feel like a lot of the poker famous people have the same problem, right? You know, kind of like that same story. Everyone wants to bluff Phil Ivey kind of situation, right? Speaking of, though, have you ever had to play, or have you ever gotten to play with some of the more famous poker personalities out there?
Yeah, I did. I forget what it was. I wanted a ticket to it's a charity. It was at some charity in San Diego, and like they brought my wife up. They sent cars for us, hotels, everything. It was like it was a
Nice.
huge, big thing. I got to play with Chip Reese. I got to play same table. Lovely man before he passed away. This was like 19 years ago, and I basically final tabled, and there was Johnny Chan and Joel Brunson at my table, and like I was an idiot. I'm jumping, giving people bad beats, like the worst, the worst type of poker player, and Joel Brunson's favorite hand is actually Jack 7. Everyone thinks, oh, it's 10 deuce. No, it's because he won 2 tournaments with 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his favorite. It's Jack 7. I know because I had Jack 10, and then the flop was Jack high. I raise him. I re-raise him. He jams all in. I call with Jack 10 suited, and he goes, "Oh, you got me." And he rivers a fucking 7. And he's like, and I go, I literally said something like, "You really jam with Jack 7?" He said, "Bryce," and he goes, this kid got a mouth on him. you know. But Johnny Chan won, and I flattered Johnny Chan with my pocket 8s. He had ace 8. He jams all in. I call, and he flops an ace. And he's such a sweet guy. He goes, "I won't waste your chips." And he won. He won. The next day, and he goes, "I didn't waste your chips. I won."
That's hysterical. That's
He's a sweetheart. He's sweet.
That's cool. You play with like actual true like poker legends. It's amazing.
Yeah,
and they both sucked out on you.
Yeah. They both. Yes, correct. My wife.
No wonder they're hard to beat.
Yeah, but they're all lovely people. I haven't played with Phil Ivey, but he was at that tournament, so I wanted to play with him, of course, because everybody wants to feel the Ivy stare.
Right. Yep.
I think I would laugh, to be honest, because when I get nervous, I laugh. I would die laughing. I just,
Awesome. So
any of you guys played with Phil Ivey? Same table?
I did.
I have not. You
did?
Yeah, I was at the World Series in the main actually this year. Yeah.
Oh my! How was that?
We only played like 2 hands together. I raised, somebody 3-bet me, and then he 4-bet, and I just folded. And Ivy had some shit hand. I don't remember what it was. The other guy had ace king, and he wanted a pretty big pot. And after that, Ivy like raised my small blind, and I just check folded. So that was it. But he was, I played with a lot of like kind of known poker players like the Granu and guys like that. But Ivy's presence, man, it was fucking eerie. I was like, yeah, I sat down. I was just like, man, I feel kind of a little bit intimidated, like from a poker player for the first time in my life.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, he's those big eyes, and you're just doesn't blink. I mean, just doesn't blink. It's just.
It was weird. You sit down and he feels almost like bigger than life. He was just sitting on the side table, and I was like, man, this is just it's eerie.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty prolific. So
yeah.
Dude.
Very cool. So let's talk about kind of the other side of the spectrum then. You've been playing? You played over in Texas. You played the Borgata, playing up Thunder Valley. Is LA your favorite place to play? Is this your favorite player pool, or how do you feel about the players in LA? You think you got us all figured out yet, or is it you rather go back to Texas and get some of that Texas poker money that I hear is still flowing pretty freely?
That Texas poker was so easy. I was like, people don't understand. We play with arguably, I think, the best poker players in the world. in the sense of, like 20 years ago, you go like, oh, East Coast players are kind of like tight, tight-ish compared to LA, right? But I mean, you have every different style here.
Yeah,
every
it's a lot.
style. And really good poker players you play with consistently. So I feel LA poker players are hands down. Now, before I used to be like, oh, I prefer playing at Commerce because I run better there. And so this year I changed. For me, I changed all of that. That has nothing to do where I play.
Well, you've had great results, like I read off, just since October at all three of our major major running casinos. So I think that's working for you. You gotta convince Derek that it's not about the casino, because he still insists
The Gardens, man.
he
Gardens.
can't run good at the Gardens.
Yeah. That's the one.
Hopefully you'll defeat that.
Get over that hump.
Look, you made a final table there. Was it a year and a half ago with Jesse? Remember? As soon as we got the sweatshirts.
I did. I also
Yes.
just finished 11th in a tournament, but it for like both of those, it was still like clawing for my life all the way through it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously like joking, half joking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, like, definitely not fully joking. But yeah, just run bad at the Gardens, man.
What are you gonna do?
This is so far away. That's the reason the drive is so long for most people. You're just like,
that's true. I'm a little bit tilted by the time I get there and everything.
that's exactly right. Like you drove all this way to like grind this out for like,
And then the security guard's like, you can't bring that coffee in here, and I'm like, are you kidding?
That's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. Checking out the chat here. We got a lot of folks joining us, watching in. I guess we got Mark in there playing online while we're doing this. I'm not sure if he's on WPT Gold or what, but let's see. Any good questions here? No, bunch of people complaining about how bad they run at the Gardens. I think you guys are onto something here. So yeah, what about the WPT? Did you make the trip up to the WPT at the Wynn this last winter?
Oh God, it was so brutal. I did. Variance hit me like a motherfucker. 25 flips, I won 0.
Jeez.
And not in one tournament, just
over the course. Yeah, that sounds like Derek in most of the group chats when we're at the Gardens.
Yeah. No, it was pretty brutal. 6 of the times were just in the blinds. 4 times pocket queens, kings, and ace king, and I dominated every single. I mean, there were flips, but like 4 times with queens against ace king, lost every single one against ace king, even flop top set, and then lost it on the turn to spades. Boat up, then ace king to ace queen, and then pocket kings to ace king. It was the last tournament that I entered. It was just I get pocket queens again. It goes, I raise 5-way, flop is king queen 10. I check. I'm like, okay, this is great. I check, guy raises, everybody folds. I call, and the dealer puts it in the muck. The flop. And I'm like, my God, this tournament series is just terrible for me. And it was like the last day of the prime, or maybe after the prime. I don't even remember. But it was in a muck, and I go, what are you doing? He's like, oh my God. They call the floor over, and we're in the ballroom, and they're like, what were the suits? I go, it was rainbow, king, queen, 10. And she goes, well, we looked at the cameras, and cameras can't really tell the suits because they're not poker cameras, right? They're not really poker cameras there. They're not in the poker room. They're just,
conference too.
You couldn't see the suits. And so we had to chop the pot. And the guy that left me goes, as chopping the pot, he goes, probably best for you.
Because how bad you're running?
I had top 2.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, I didn't say anything. Like, I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I just looked at him. I looked at him like probably like a vacant stare, like of somebody who's a slow death. It was just fucking unreal. Like, I can't make this shit up. So that's how bad I ran.
That was brutal.
I'm glad it's over.
All right. Well, currently, folks can check you out on season 2 of Lioness, right? On Paramount
Yeah,
Plus. That's where that's at. So,
yeah.
what what do you have cooking right now? Is your poker playing schedule kind of open right now, or are you going to be leaving us again to go work? What's in store this next year for you? Whether that be your getting and putting in a big series at the World Series, or you got to get back to your real job.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I mean, my real job is what I prefer doing. You know what I mean? It's just it's what I love to do. You know what I mean? Uh, and it's so funny. Like when you talk about parallels of acting, it's just as competitive
Mm-hmm.
in
Yep.
the sense of like Derek, when you talk about playing with like Phil Ivey. Well, it's the same thing when you're sitting across from Sean Penn or any big actors. It's like, but it's different because I'm able to I'm able to compete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
As you are too, in that field. But uh, because it's emotional, it's a different game.
Yeah.
There's that
I get it.
that
Yeah.
Yep.
nervousness I get to use.
Acting's not a zero-sum game.
Right.
Mm.
Whereas in poker, that nervous energy, you don't really get to use it in
Right.
poker.
Right.
You have to let it go, and hopefully it goes away.
Right.
Like it's not good for you.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I'm up for a couple of gigs now, and just everything's slowed down because of the fires. And yeah, I mean, preferably I could go work somewhere that has poker, which would be the best thing. Like
Right.
which would be the best, but unfortunately, I don't get to pick.
Sure.
So
Sure. Luckily, there are a lot of places that do have it, though. I've played poker in Vancouver, right? And if you
yeah,
if you got to
they-
go back to New York or any of that, they got casinos in the whole tri-state area now. You don't have to go to Atlantic City. I can recommend Parks from before I moved. That's pretty close to the city there, and so there's a lot of places you can. The odds are decent that if you do get sent off to go work somewhere, there'll be a poker room somewhere not too far off. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Bucharest. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go
Oh.
to those casinos in Bucharest.
All
You know,
right, but in the near term, we're gonna see you down at the for the rest of the LAPC here.
yeah, pretty much.
All right,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to battling with you down
Yeah,
there
me too.
at Commerce on the Felt, and yeah, it's been really awesome having you on the show and chatting with you. I think the times we've played at the table, you have been kind of a little less chatty, but I think they tend to be later in day twos and not. I don't think I played with you very often on day ones. Maybe once, and it still didn't. I don't know about you, but with my style, I don't often stay at a day one table very long. So,
Man, I think at one point, we were playing a lot at a lot of tables
but
at
they were
one.
like day twos, I think, though, if I recall. I spent a long time with you at one of the bike day twos, I remember, and then
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then maybe with
But
the Gardens day two.
there was like a month or two there that like we kept on playing at tables, and it was just
Yeah. I
yeah.
feel like they weren't during the fun part of the tournament though. The part where we're at the part where people kind of cinch up a little more. I never do, but where everyone else tends to get a little less. And plus, I don't know. The one I really recall, the table at the bike, I really recall. I don't think it was the 400. I think it was one of the later ones. You had to start feeling bad. Just the beats. Do you remember the hand? And we talked about it on the show where Tony folded ace high to you, and you had
Oh, I
you,
call
and
I
you,
called
you
it out
called,
with
and he
we
folded face. He just mucked, and you showed him
we
king
kicked
high, and
up.
he's just
Yeah.
like goes pale because he folded a better hand than king high, and you're just like,
But
Yeah.
he's dead, right? His hand's dead, right? Or
I thought no, I called
you called him,
his
yeah,
called his bet.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he mucked, just straight mucked.
he
You
mucked.
called and he mucked, and then you just kind of looked around, like saw the cards dead. And you just showed your king high, and
Yeah,
Tony, you knew as soon as you showed, you could tell Tony folded a better hand, like,
yeah. He's like, you got it, you got it.
yep.
And he mucked in, and then I turned it over.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that day you had just been brutalizing people. I remember you had so many chips. you were just people, you were jamming on people left and right, and it'd be like, oh man, you got queen 10, he's got ace queen. Nope, that guy's dead. It's like, oh man, this guy. I remember, like it was like that hand and like two other big dominated hands. You just were crushing dreams that day. So that was
there was a guy to my right at that end of that table you were talking
Yep.
about. Before I got that stack, this guy had like 3 million and just maybe like 2.5 million, and the blinds were only like I want to say like 6,000. Like he just had such a monstrous. His stack was monstrous, and that's when I started. Right then, I think it was the 500K, and I was working with Brock, and I literally took 3/4 of his stack.
No kidding. Wow.
I just completely adjusted to it because he literally was playing how Brock was telling me how to play. So I knew exactly what he was doing every time. And every time he kept on making big bets to people, like I knew he had like maybe like bottom pair or middle pair, and you just knew someone else had a top pair, but it wasn't a good kicker. And he just would do like a fucking 9x bet on the turn to try to get him off of it, and they would fold every time, and I'm like, oh please, situation, because I know exactly what you're doing, and it really was like he just was, yeah. I did ran
Yeah,
all
yep.
that.
And once you got that big stack, I mean, there was no stopping you because I'm just like I was telling him like, man, oh, these people must hate Kirk right now because he's just killing. He's just killing everybody once he's got this stack. So that was definitely fun to watch.
Those days in general are fun when you. I'm sure all you guys could concur.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, it's been fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you've already won Frank's Player of the Week twice. First person, I believe, to ever win his Player of the Week twice. Hopefully we'll see you in there again, and we'll have some more reasons to bring you on again. Maybe if not this year, then later on. So we will definitely be keeping an eye out. We'll see you down at Commerce, and good luck, except for when you're playing with us, of course.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Kirk.
My pleasure.
All right, guys. Thank you. So, see you, Kirk. So we are going to move on to results from this week. So, great guest, awesome dude, really fun to play with Kirk. Like I said, when you do play with him day one, he is very friendly. He'll be very friendly. Tends to be pretty chatty, and he's a great time at the table. And when you play with him on day two, he's a killer. So, it's always a good time. Have you had a chance to play very often with Kirk?
Just a couple of times. Not. I don't think it's been too frequent. Yeah, only maybe a handful of times.
Yeah, and when you look, he, like he said, he is a bit spotty with attendance because of his acting schedule. Sometimes he's not around for months, and sometimes he'll put in a little burst here and there. And it's really been the last couple of years he's been coming and showing up a lot more. So awesome. Looking forward to seeing him more often. So we have some results to get to. Let's get to handing out some props. Congratulations, Ed Alicani, Mr. Ed. He went up to the win after playing in some of these LAPC events. He decided to mosey on up to Vegas and get himself a nice win trophy. He won the turbo there for a little over $6,000. Congratulations, Ed.
Nice work, Ed.
And then I'm going to hop over to the MSPT main event this past weekend because it appears that a very large number of our regs made the trip down to San Diego. And, it looks like they actually cleared a decent amount of money here. Let me tell you, we have here in 30th place of this main event was Rudy. I'm looking through. We got Thu Win here in 27. We got Peter Cross, 25. Jared Greiner, 24. Andrew Ostapchenko, 19. I mean,
man, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Fausto here, 14th. Way to go, Fausto here. Fresh off his event one win up at Commerce.
Rudy.
And I'm almost positive Gabriel Hababa is another reg from around here.
What the heck?
Wei Hengzong, it says San Diego. I feel like he comes up to play, or it could be off. And then top final table, a lot of San Diego super regs. Congratulations to Anastasia Knapp, got 8th place here.
Nice
and let me see here. Oh, they did not make the final table, but I want to shout out some of the other top finishers here. We had Where is this man? He won our 40-40 last year. Eddie Pilotin, another guy who comes up to play some of our bigger events. So congrats to all these folks going and getting it done. And then the winner of this event was David Berger. Congratulations. He took home $87,000 for the win at this MSPT down there. So
nice work, everyone.
Yeah.
And congratulations to all the blasters getting out there and getting deep runs.
Yeah, I mean, clearly they don't care about our player of the year, which I do need to update. I will do that soon. I've had a decent number of results from Commerce. I'll get around to that. But and I forgot to mention, with all those great finishes, Kirk is in the top 10 of our player of the year. So as of the first of the year, he is in 8th. So another little sign of him killing it.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the results I was able to find for a lot of blasters not here in LA. But let's move back over to the Commerce, where we've been having a lot of events. So the event number 4, Omaha 8. Congratulations to Arthur Beckerman taking first place in that. Now, to note, and they're going to mention this a lot of times in these headlines, these mixed game events, they're a little bit smaller, but Mr. David Brookshire, you're going to hear his name a lot, and he got 3rd in this one. So just keep that in mind as I go through these results. So then here, event number 5 is the $400 bounty. Congratulations to Michael Pasaribu. He took home first place and about a little over $5,000 for winning that event. Trophy goes to Michael. Congratulations. And then here in the 8 max, familiar name, familiar face, Mr. Vong Do took first place in the 8 max for a little over $5,000. Way to go. I wonder if that's his first Remington. I feel like it can't be, but maybe. I mean, some people, if it was, he's definitely off the list of, good regs who need a Remington, unlike certain co-hosts around here. All right. So speaking of Mr. David Brookshire, here he is. He took home, they don't have the number of the event, but he took home the studs or better, 8 studs, 8 or better, I'd imagine. They didn't actually write that. All right, so look, little tip, man, we need to know the actual event, not just the mixed game event, and I would like to know what the event number is. Oh, and, this might be a personal peeve. Maybe they're doing it on purpose to try and get you to click, but Commerce has been putting links to these articles in their Twitter, but man, it would be really nice to put the name of the winner and maybe the event instead of just new article and link, because I just keep seeing article name in the picture, and it's like, come on, just tell me his name. Are you trying to get me to click, or are you trying to annoy me? Anyways, congratulations, David Brookshire. We got Sean Yu here, in 3rd place. You can remember Mr. Sean Yu is a local mixed game legend with 9 bracelets, I think. Let's move over here to the $500 PLO event. The winner here was Axeli Peilanen. Congratulations to Axeli. Moving over to the one-day event. I believe this was the $400 event during the day 2 of the XL Bounty. This had, it does not say the number of players, but I'm going to guess around 140 players. So congratulations to John Garamoni, taking home first place. And it looks like there was a chop, probably top 4 chop. Yep, final 4 chopping. John had the most chips and got the most money, almost $7,000. Second place in the chop was Andres Garcia. Congratulations, Andy, getting second place there. Tree Din, 3rd place, and James Walker in 4th place in that chop. Rounding out the final table, Gerald Nakash, David Pock in 6th, Edward Liu in 7th, Jeffrey Convitz in 8th, and Brandon Schaefer in 9th. So definitely recognize old Eddie Liu's name and Brandon Schaefer's name. So congratulations to those folks.
Yeah, nice
Brandon,
work, everyone.
I know they like to watch the show. They are all the way up, I think, in Bakersfield. Yep, Bakersfield. Him and his wife, Sarah Smart. She just grabbed a hoodie this weekend. So they like to stay on the weekends and get some poker in. So,
Speaking of hoodie, man, Fausto's
rocking that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like I just noticed he started wearing it more recently, but man, he is just going deep in everything in that guy.
Absolutely. I don't think, they don't think they have like pictures, but he had it in his bust out picture here. He's been giving us a lot of good lucky hoodie press there for sure.
But the one he got is particularly lucky or something. Man,
absolutely. All right, so the big multi-day event that was happening at Commerce this week was the XL bounty, where all the bounties on day 2 were worth 1,500. I got 0 bounties in that event, so that stinks. I only had a shot at 1. I had a flip, my 2 overs versus their pocket 5s. I hit. I lost. The guy hit a full house, and I had a draw to a bigger full house, but just did not develop. So I busted out of that guy in 60 something. But Dean Myers took home the win in a 6-way chop. So he took home 26 grand for the prize plus 9 bounties, which added up to 39,000. So way to go, Dean. Second place in the chop was Michelle DeMonahan, 21,000 plus 6 bounties for 30 grand. Third was Thuy Win, 16,009 bounties for about 30 grand. Fourth was Sohal with 11,008 bounties for about 23,000. Fifth place, Armin Pogashian for about 14 grand and 2 bounties. This is going to boost him up quite nicely in the Player of the Year. He was near the top, if I recall, after the mystery bounty, I think it was, in the last series. And sixth, Ba Tran, who took home about 9,000 plus 2 bounties. So congratulations to those final 6 for getting the big chop.
Nice scores, everyone.
Yep. And then I think we have a few other results. Let's see. Does this name look familiar? Pervez Ahmad for Event 9. I'm not sure if we covered that one. That was the seniors. So congratulations to Pervez. And also in this top final table, we have Lamwin, Justin Henry, James Lisi, David Gutfrund, and then our reporter, Frank Lynn. Way to go, Frank. 6th place in the seniors event. Brian Alland, Warren Friedman, and then Kenneth Morrison rounding out the final table. Congratulations to all of those and the seniors, and Derek still refuses to play a seniors event. He even fakes sicknesses to get out of them. I think that's what happened this time.
Yeah, it was. I actually forced myself to 101 fever so I could miss this one.
Yep, I mean it's an oldest trick in the book. I mean,
pretty extreme.
I don't think you can live at that. I don't think you can live at that
go through.
Yeah, I think you're dead at that temperature. I really think you just held the thermometer under the lamp. So, and then event 10, $500 horse, was with Sean SFYU taking it down. So congratulations to Sean. This is his 6th Remington, including the really awesome silver one he got last year for winning Player of the Series. So if anybody is in the market to buy a Remington statue, I bet I know someone who may be willing to sell you one. Anyways, congratulations, Sean. 2nd place was Yosef Nawabi. 3rd, Hui Tony Ma. And 4th, David Brookshire. His name's always there. Other shout-outs, 7th place, Adam Kipnis. 8th place, Alan Meyerson, adding to his lifetime cashes, as we mentioned last week. So,
nice work, everyone.
Way to go, all of
my
you.
Buddy,
all right.
my buddy Adam. Good job, Adam.
Mm-hmm. And a couple results from the Gardens dailies. So on the 18th, this was 154 entries, and that was a $30,000 prize pool. Ended with a 2-way chop. So Edgar Gabrielin on the right got 7,700, and David Gilbody on the left got 7,200. So congratulations for those guys on the Friday night chop for top 2. Saturday and Sunday. They had on Saturday, there was no chop, and Daniel took home 4,500. I believe that is this photo here. And then on Sunday, there were a top 2-way chop, with Nicholas getting over 4,400 plus the bounties. So way to go. Congratulations to Daniel and Nicholas.
Nice work, everyone.
And those are all the results we have here. Reminder, once again, the schedule for the Gardens does have a Friday afternoon event again. It's got that bounty that starts at 11 a.m. And the Bike Sunday tournament has a $20,000 guarantee on it now. And they are using the new chipset. I went over there and I checked out the new chipset. It is very nice, very cool. And get over there before they get all gross and grody. Other events going on. The day ones for the 40-40 have begun. Right now, I believe they're in the 3rd day one. So currently, there are 14 players who have bagged up. And the first place top of the leaderboard right now is Mark Estemborski, who has 1.19 million. So that
sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's 3 times average. I went into the day 2 of the first event with the chip lead at 1.2 million, and I think we start with the same starting stack. So these levels are a bit longer, but the starting stack's the same, and I believe the average stack would be the same. So that should be good to be a very, it's probably going to be a top 5 stack for sure going into day 2.
Yeah, Alvin is another player that is on a freaking tear, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeez.
He's probably feeling motivated with how well Elvin did at the end of last year, and his kind of like gotta catch up before he gets known as the lesser twin, right? You gotta get a little sibling rivalry there. But Elvin has bagged an exactly average stack, more or less.
Yeah.
Actually, if that is an average stack, it's a 40-40. You must get 40K in chips, right? So 400,000 must be average. So congratulations to these 14 folks. Flight's going on now. Alan Meyerson bagged as well, 130. So that's going to be another cash for him. I will be in these playing these flights on Friday. There's 2 flights on Friday, 1 flight every other day, including Saturday, and day 2 on Sunday. Hopefully, you will be feeling better by then, Derek, and you'll be able to jump in there.
Yeah, this sickness better go away soon, man. It's running on almost like a week. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So those are all the results. So let's jump into the roundup, shall we, for the weekend? So obviously the big thing happening this weekend is still the LAPC. This week is that 40-40 we were just talking about, and as I stated, there is a day 1 every day, and then on Friday there are 2 day 1s, with the afternoon flight being 30-minute levels. So the 4 p.m. flight on Friday will be 30-minute levels. That's a $600 buy-in. Every day this week, alongside of those, outside of that Friday, there is a no limit hold'em deep stack at 4. That is a $250 buy-in, and then they will be doing landmark satellites at night. And then tomorrow's Wednesday, there's a big O at 11. On Thursday, there is a mixed Omaha 8 at 11, and then on Friday, there is a horse tournament on Friday. At 11. So mixed game players still have their events happening all week in the afternoons. Day 2 is on Sunday, and there will be a noon $400 no limit hold'em event there, and then they will also begin the day 1 flights of their 100K guarantee mystery bounty event, which once again, I don't really get that one. A small guarantee. It's a lower buy-in. And, I was looking around for other things to play, and there really isn't much competition that weekend. For some reason, nobody's really doing anything that weekend. But that's what's happening. We're going to have a 100K guarantee mystery bounty, and that day 2 will be the following Sunday.
Whole week full of flights. I'd imagine they could at least put a bigger guarantee on this one.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's not. On the other hand, they always do a mystery bounty over Chinese New Year. So maybe that's why nobody's running events, to not compete with Chinese New Year. But I don't know. We'll see. Not much else to do around. Probably we'll get in there, go fire some dailies. Speaking of dailies, over at and with results, over at Hollywood Park, the Martin Luther King tournament on Monday was a big guarantee. We don't have results because they never report, but we did hear from the field that Rob Gill did final table, and it looks like they chopped. Maybe Frank, if you're in the chat, you got more information about it than I do. And something about bounties, Eugene Tito. A different bounty event. Sorry, Frank, I missed that during our results. So looks like Eugene got the final table in one of these bounty events that I did not read, and Frank got 16th in that XL bounty event as well. Sorry, forgot to shout you out, Frank. And over here at Hollywood Park, this coming weekend, it looks like kind of their regular slate of tournaments. The $8,000 guarantee bounty on Friday, 10K bankroll builder on Saturday, and 5K turbo event on Sunday. Same kind of story at the Lucky Lady, just their regular slate of tournaments coming up this weekend. 10K guarantees Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then same story at the Gardens, their regularly scheduled dailies, and at the bike. So you have lots of choices, not a lot of different or special events happening at the other locations. So this weekend, I, for one, know I'm going to be going pretty much all in over there at that 40-40. It's nice and refreshing to see kind of a normal event with a decent buy-in to guarantee ratio. So, Yep. Well, that's where I will be, and that's where I recommend everyone else come if $600 is a good price point for you. Otherwise you have these dailies. There's a lot of variety now. So.
And if you don't have the $600, there's a Landmark Mega every night at 7 p.m. So don't forget about that either.
That's true. Yep, they have those satellites every night. They are good value. Yeah, so that's all we have for you this week. Once again, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for jumping in the chat. And, thanks for Kurt for joining in and being a great guest. We will keep working on bringing in awesome guests for you guys, and we will keep working to keep bringing the latest results and the latest news from around LA. Until next time, Derek's going to get a little bit of rest and some fluids, and we will see you at the table.